Hello, everyone, and welcome to Paula's Soapbox Live. You'll probably recognize my guest from season 9 of American Idol. She is going to be performing with a few other former idols in a couple of days, and we'll talk about that a little later on in the show. Her album is called Reverie, so I highly recommend that you check that out because it really is quite excellent. I listened to it yesterday. So please welcome to the show the very talented and fellow Tennessee native, I might add, Didi Benami.
Hi!
Hey!
Hey!
I'm so glad that you made it.
Yay! I'm glad you made it. I'm glad we made it.
I'm glad we made it. We had some technical difficulties. That's why we're starting later than we intended to.
Sorry, y'all. We love you.
Yeah, it's just, Google, I think it just does this to mess with me. It's done it during every interview. I've had something go wrong during every interview with technical issues. I promise it's not me. I really do know how to do the technology stuff. It's just...
She's lying.
Anyway, yeah.
Okay, it's me.
So, you're going to get me in trouble here.
No. Okay, I don't want to get her in trouble. Let's not get her in trouble.
So Didi's actually not, I didn't realize this until I started researching you, but Didi's actually a nickname.
Yes.
How do you pronounce your real name so I don't butcher it?
I hope I don't butcher it. My whole life, I don't know. My first name is Vered, which V-E-R-E-D.
Yeah.
I tell people it's very red minus the R-Y.
Yeah.
Yeah, very red. Like I was a really red baby. So no, the reason they named me that is because my dad's Israeli and I was actually the only one. I have two amazing, incredible, brilliant, smart, beautiful sisters. One of them studying in Israel, getting her PhD in microbiology, and the other one's here in San Francisco, getting her master's. And their names were so easy. They got the easy names, and they gave me the Israeli name, the Hebrew name, which actually means rose in Hebrew.
Yeah, I think it's pretty.
Thank you. Who knows? Maybe I'll change my name halfway through my life. I already tried a couple times, and it's just everybody's like, what? I'll just go with Didi. So my older sister couldn't say my name when she was an infant, which...
So she named you Didi.
Yep. And that's where, and my dad's like, oh, this is a very good, yes, he's a famous Brazilian soccer player named Didi. We call her Didi. And even though he was a guy and he was Brazilian, but it's cool. It is what it is. I'm Didi. Yes, you're welcome.
I like the name Didi, though. I mean, it's odd that stuck with you all these years.
Well, I didn't know it was my real name until I didn't know Didi was not my real name until they were like, hey, your real name's actually Vered, and this is what it means in Hebrew. And I was like, what? What?
So how old were you when you found out that your real name was actually not Didi?
Oh, no. Everybody called me Didi anyway. That was a joke. I was about 4 or 5, I think, when I started actually understanding that it was not, I couldn't even say it. I was, anyway. So don't worry, I'll pronounce it. It's okay.
Well, if you grew up in Tennessee too, so it's hard to pronounce certain things with the Southern accent. So yeah.
First day of roll call every day of my entire life was just a nightmare. I was like, just don't even try. Just call me Didi. It's fine. They're like, Verdad? Verde?
Verdad.
I was like, no. Close. No, I had amazing teachers, actually. I am so grateful for my teachers that did mispronounce my name, although they did it many times. They're the reason who, them and my mother and my upbringing is the reason who I am today. I've had the most incredible mentors in my life from when I was a very small child. My 5th grade teacher used to sing the national anthem at the Smokies games in Knoxville. And I thought that was so inspiring. I was like, I want to do that one day.
Yeah.
And so, Miss Bauman at Rocky Hill, shout out.
Yeah.
So she was super inspiring. She sang the national anthem for us the last day of school. And I was like, I'm going to do that one day.
Yeah, and you've done that a lot, actually. You've gotten to do that a lot. So
it's really cool. And I thank Miss Bauman for inspiring me to get out there and do it. I was like, if she's not afraid, I'm not afraid. If she can do it, I can do it.
Yeah. That's really cool. Well, I know that you've had to overcome quite a few obstacles in your life to get to the place that you are now. You moved in with your uncle when you were 14.
I
and
did.
you worked to save for college. Like at 14, most people aren't even really thinking that much about college, but where did you work to save the money?
Well, this is funny. My very first like legitimate real job was at Echo Ridge retirement home, which was right across the street from Bearden High School. And I was a waitress and I was 14, so we had to be out by a certain time because technically you can't keep 14-year-olds after or for however many hours. So that was my first job. It was serving prunes to the elderly, basically. And
That's an odd thing to have on a resume.
Right? I'm like, I've been a waitress before. When I applied for my first job at PFJ, I was like, I was a waitress. It was just in a different environment. That's all.
Right.
But the elderly are very particular, so it actually is a great experience. And then I started working at Bella Spazio, which was a spa and salon, because I figured I wanted to be doing something that I was interested in. And I've always had just this love for, of course, I'm such a girl when it comes to hair and makeup and spa, that scent, that smell, the relaxing, the whole, everything that has anything to do with spa. I'm like, yes. So I marched into Darlene Baker's office, and she was the owner, and she looked at me like, what are you doing? I think I was 6 months after I had started actually working in the workforce, like waiting tables. And I was like, I will work for minimum wage, and I will fold laundry, and I will sweep, and I will do whatever you need me to do. I will work for minimum wage, but I want a job here. I want a job here. And she was like, I admire your cojones. So yes, you can have a job. That's fine.
Wow.
Yeah, it was great. I loved it. I learned so much about massage therapy and aesthetics and doing makeup. And I met really wonderful people at the salon, and, some of my best friends to date still. So, you learn a lot a lot. So I kind of learned how to do a little bit of my makeup and stuff, and all that. It was fun. It was
I'm sure that came in handy though, having that skill, because it is kind of a learned skill.
Yeah, and you think you're good, and then you meet all these like really professional makeup artists when you're on Idol, and you're like, yeah, okay, never mind.
I was gonna say, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, so did you know that you wanted to go to Belmont?
Yeah, it's really weird because I wasn't sure up until Belmont it was either Emory. I wanted to go to Emory. I didn't, gosh, I guess I shouldn't say this out loud. I wasn't sure I wanted to stay in Knoxville. I just felt like there was something more that I needed to do. And I was like, Nashville's the closest big city, so maybe I should be there. And I went to do the orientation there, and I felt like that was exactly where I was supposed to be.
Yeah.
It just hit me like, yes, this is it. So I did. I went there, and I don't know. I guess, yes, there was a strong force that was pulling me to Nashville.
Yeah.
So
divine. Well, it turned out to be a really good choice for you, because you ended up meeting this Rebecca Joy Lear, who unfortunately passed away when she was just 18. Yeah. But she was your inspiration. She was your mentor. So, and I read that, her death was sort of what jolted you into sort of taking your dreams a little more seriously than you had before.
Yeah. I mean, she wow, she was the funniest, most amazing person. And I had definitely never had a friend like her. She was quirky, and we related on so many of the same levels. And once I heard her music, she was a singer-songwriter. She lived right down the hall in Hale Hall. We used to call it Hale Hall. And yeah, she was like, you should be writing. She heard me singing. It was a total accident. I was just singing like in the corridor, doing laundry downstairs. And I heard her screaming from upstairs. She's like, who is that? I was like, oh, who is that? I was like, that's Didi. And she was like, you need to come here right now. Why aren't you singing? And I got the I mean, smack down. She was like, you need to be singing. You need to be doing this. I was like, I don't really do that. And she's like, do you write? And I was like, I write in my diary and I write poetry.
Right.
Like, okay, we can do that. We can work with this. This is what like, I'll help you. You can do this. And I was like, okay, whatever. She's crazy, but like, I'll go with it. And we ended up being best friends. She just changed my life. Yeah. And I wasn't, still, even when I was living there, I was like, I'm not going to pursue this. I'm doing this to humor her. Like, I'm okay. I love singing. I've sung my entire life. And I didn't think that I could actually write songs. And I'm lucky to have had these kinds of situations where I've met incredible co-writers. I've had incredible people to work with and who have really helped me work on my craft. It's weird because I think when you're writing, you write. And whatever comes out, comes out. Mm-hmm. And I mean, the experience has definitely shifted my perspective as far as where to write from and what to write about. But yeah, it was really hard. It was also, after she passed away, it was a way that I felt like I was still connected to her. It was a way that I felt like she would still be around, and if I was doing it, it was my way of feeling like she was still there. And it was my therapeutic way of coping with her.
Well, and you kept her legacy going. That this was her dream too, to be a singer-songwriter, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, neither of us were like college material, so they say, college material. I was like, what are we doing? She's like, let's move to Chicago. And I'm like, Chicago or New York? Let's move to New York. And I was like, no, let's move to California.
Yeah.
She's like, I'm not moving to California. No. Okay.
Yeah, and then you did.
And then I did. I was like, well, sorry, you lost this one, Bex. So here I am. Been here for 10 years now, and I've been going back and forth from here in New York. I'm considering making the move to New York, but we'll see. We'll see. It's expensive over there, so I don't know. Yeah. We'll see.
So do you still plan to put some of her songs on an album, or have you been working on that at all lately?
Actually, that's done. We did that already.
Wow, really?
Yeah, it hasn't been released yet.
Okay.
Yeah, we went to Cornerstone Studios in Wichita, Kansas, and her dad, Don, was there, and Susan, her mother, and we recorded seven of her songs, I believe. And it was really, actually the very first show that I ever did for my album was in Kansas, was in Wichita last year. And it was after we had recorded. This has been going on for years and years and years. And of course you get to Kansas, and I got really emotional. I mean, we all did. So it's really tough to sing when you're that emotional. You're in her hometown and she's not there. And you have to keep the dream alive for her and what she would have wanted. And I mean, the truth is I think she was a really amazing singer-songwriter. And once I started developing as a songwriter, I would work on her songs, and then I talked to her mom about it, and she was like, I think she would want you to write your own material too, so you should really try and do that as well. And so aside from also working on Rebecca's music, I started writing my own songs, which is where Reverie came from. Yeah. And there's other songs that haven't been released yet either. But yeah, we have absolutely finished her project.
I love that. I love that you did that for her.
She was an amazing person. It's fascinating and really beautiful to see the people that her music brought together. In Kansas even, I played with her guitar player who used to write with her, and we'd tell stories about her, and it was a really nice tribute to a great person. And I feel like at a certain point, you have to, I hadn't moved on yet. I feel like it took me a really, really long time to cope with the loss of her. And so yes, I once I finally got her project done, I felt like I could finally settle down a little bit and start to move forward and work on my own music. It was tough, but we do have it. It hasn't been released yet. Once we get that all sorted out, it will happen. But we have recorded the music. It is there. It's just not available to the public yet. So He
I
has
started to say, I did pretty extensive research and I never found the album, so.
Yeah, no, we have it done. They had put a special a Facebook up, I believe, on her birthday this past year on February 10th with some of her songs, and we were all wishing her a happy birthday. But it's been a very quiet project right now. Just, you know, it's always hard dealing with somebody who's not physically here, and you want to do them justice. And I am so particular about making sure that her songs, and so is her family, we want that to be so perfect. And then you listen back to her music and you're like, God, she was so good. I don't want to redo any of this. Like, I don't want to touch it now. Like, yes, it was amazing to work on for such a long time and to listen to over and over and really like feel like she's still there. That's the beauty of music, is that they're never really gone. Their music lives on forever.
Right. That's her legacy. Yeah, and you're honoring that legacy, and you want to honor that legacy by doing her proud. So I think you're doing an excellent job with that.
Well, thank you. I think she would be proud. I think she'd be real proud that I did my own album. I mean, she would be like, see, you did it.
Yeah. And it's really, like I said, it's a really good album. So
thank you. Thank you. Well, I appreciate it. That was years in the making. So
yeah.
So happy it's done, and I had an amazing producer and amazing writers a part of it. And actually Billy Muller, the guy that did the album, is now working on Amy Osborne's album, and which I think is cool, because that's the one girl who's like the quiet part of the Osborne family who kept to herself. So you're gonna get this whole, he loves that. He delves into every artist that he works with and really wants the audience to get to know who they are for who they are, not for whatever, you know,
who they're connected to
by the media. Yeah. So he's a really, really wonderful producer, and I was lucky to get the chance to work with him. So
yeah, that's really cool. Well, so you went to Belmont, obviously. We talked about that. So what made you decide to make the move to Los Angeles as opposed to like staying in Music City and pursuing your career there?
After Rebecca passed away, because we were roommates, and actually the first time I ever came out to California was literally right after she had passed away. And I couldn't stay in Nashville. We had an apartment together in Nashville, and I couldn't wake up every morning there without her, because that was such a huge part of the reason that I stayed in Nashville. Because Belmont was amazing, but I think both of us were misfits. I mean, I like grew up Jewish and went to a Baptist Christian school. So
right.
You know, we really vibed and connected, and we were both gonna stick it out because we had friends there and we were each other's like close friends, and we were starting to do our music together and whatnot, but we were planning a move anyway. So, you know, it's I couldn't stay there without, I ran away. I ran away from it. I went back to Knoxville for like a couple months, tried to go to UT for a day, literally. Then was like, no, saved up money to move out to Los Angeles. And then within, I was out here by May. So it was 4 months. I saved up as much as I could. And then I came out here. And wow, I had no idea what to expect. I can't even believe I've been out here as long as I have.
Complete culture shock, I'm assuming.
Oh man, it is nothing like Tennessee. Nothing.
No, it's not.
It makes you love Southern hospitality so much. You're like, oh my gosh. Oh,
I was there briefly years ago. I did a spot on that 70s show. I won like an acting contest.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's a completely different world. You go over there and it's like, okay, I'm not in Kansas anymore, so
right. Okay,
totally different. Yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly, yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, you've been there for how long now? 4 years?
Oh my gosh, no, I've been here. This was let's see, I moved out here in no, it's definitely been longer than 4 years, but
yeah, that's right, because you were on Idol in, what was it, 2010? Yeah.
So no, it's been a minute. It's been a minute. I don't want to date myself. Every year I turn 21 over and over again.
Right.
now everybody lies about their age, so I can be whatever I am and tell everybody I'm 21. Every
Right.
birth.
Right.
I only want
You
21
look
candles. That's
21,
my
so
stop
you don't look older than 21, so that's, you
count.
know.
Thanks. Stop it. Stop it though, really.
Just, yeah.
No, stop it though, really. No.
Yeah. So you taught yourself how to play guitar. How old were you when you did that?
I had a brief stint with playing guitar when I was in high school. So I was already a little bit, like I had been taking lessons at Pick and Grin over in Knoxville, Tennessee, with Clay Blanchett. I still remember his name. Shout out to Clay. He was the one that actually, my first encounter with Hey Jude was him being like, you should play this song. Random, but
Yeah.
but Kismet also.
Yeah,
So
it was your audition song.
yeah, it was crazy. I didn't even think about that till just now. Let's see. I started playing guitar shortly after I moved out here. So I would have been 19, 20, somewhere around there. Forever young.
Yeah.
First guitar was a black.
You just picked the guitar up and just started.
Oh no, I picked the guitar up and I sucked for a very long time. And
well, you know, practice.
You have to practice. You have to practice. And yeah, I'm sure my neighbors hated me, but I learned to play guitar. And in fact, I know my neighbors hated me because she would hit the thing with the broom. There was a girl that lived right below me that was a really good guitar player. She like played electric guitar and she was actually this really good rocker chick. So we would compete with each other upstairs versus downstairs. I'm kidding. Yeah. But yeah, no, it you know, practice every day. And yeah, I just picked up the guitar again for the first time. I hadn't played in a minute since Idol, actually. I played a little bit after Idol for a couple years, and then I had 2 wrist surgeries. I had one before and then one after. And this guy,
Carpal tunnel.
Carpal
tunnel. Was that what it was? Carpal tunnel.
No. It was a cyst issue, and it was really, really incredibly painful because it was between my nerve and my bone. And I got it. You know, it was the same surgery that I had on the other wrist that I had before Idol, and it healed rather quickly. But the second one, the guy kind of messed up the surgery, and so
yeah, that happens.
yeah, I was like, oh, okay. So I've been out of commission for a minute, but I literally just picked up the guitar the other day, and I was like, oh my God, this feels so good.
Wow.
And so yeah, it's we've had an off and on relationship with the guitar.
I didn't know you hadn't picked it up in a while. That's amazing.
It's been a minute, but I'm getting back into it. And yeah, no, I self-taught from whenever I was a lot younger, so 19, 20, and then did the whole Idol thing. And I think it's weird because after American Idol, I got this really weird stage fright that I have never had before in my life. And I just kind of shelled up and just, you know, became a little bit of a hermit and wanted to write and didn't really want to go out and perform live.
Yeah. Well, Idol's a really big stage. I mean, not just physically the big stage, but the amount of people that watch the show. Yeah.
It's an amazing feeling. It's an amazing, I mean, I wish that everybody who was watching the show was right there with you. And that was the great thing about tours. You can actually hear them and you can sometimes see some of them, not me very much because I have terrible vision, but I can see the lights and hear them screaming. And it's one of those feelings where you're like, oh, I might be making a difference somehow in somebody's life. I might be able to move somebody. And that's why I do what I do, is because that feeling of like when I was singing in church, even like there's a feeling of completeness that comes from doing what you were put here to do. Mm-hmm. and feeling like you're having some sort of good influence or good impact on somebody and you're helping somebody heal. That's why that helped. What I do helps me heal. And so in essence, I hope that somehow it helps others do the same. Yeah. That's what I hope. That's why I write and all that and sing.
Well, you had auditioned for Idol, like when you were in the top 10, that was your third audition for Idol, right?
Apparently 3rd time's the charm.
So how far did you make it the first 2 times?
Didn't even make it past the first round.
Really? So you didn't even get to see the judges or anything the first 2 times?
Nope.
Wow.
Nope.
It's amazing the amount of people that I've heard about and talked to that they don't even get past the first round, and they're so talented, and you think, why does that happen?
That's a good question. That is a really good question. I do know that Jordan Sparks had auditioned several times too. So that gave me some, I was like, oh, well, she's awesome. So yeah, it's great. I don't know. I don't really know what goes into I don't know. I probably had really terrible song choices the first times too. So, and I wouldn't have been ready. I still don't feel like I was ready. There were so many things I would do differently if I was competing now than when I was on the show.
Yeah.
I had no idea what I was doing. I thought I did, but I had no idea. And
I went back and watched some of the clips the other night from when you were on, and they were just mean to you. They raked you over the coals.
I mean, I think our season was tough. It was Simon's last season, and the ratings were just starting to go down, and it was tough. There was a lot of pressure in all angles to be done with season 9 and move on to season 10. So it felt, I mean, it was a strange. But at the same time, we were blessed. We got to be a part of it. Yeah, it was never easy getting shut down like that, but you kind of have to go into it knowing that that's show business, and that's the way that it is. That happens all the time in the industry, and it's just a really public form of rejection. But that's, and it's a television show, half of it's just to keep people entertained, and it is what it is. It's part of being in the business, I guess. It's just a very public way of
So how do you, being on a show like that and having to hear these comments, because it is sort of par for the course for if you're going to be a contestant on American Idol, you're going to get criticized pretty heavily. So how do you maintain your self-esteem through all of that and sort of move on after the show?
I mean, how does anybody maintain their self-esteem through anything? It's just like growing up and getting bullied. It's like growing up and going through high school. It's literally like just finding yourself. And we all always, there's another, I don't know, you have to have the strength. You have to have some sort of strength that you believe that you're there for a reason. And there's for me, there was some higher purpose for what I did. Whatever it led to, I just was hoping it would open some doors and I would have an amazing platform, which I did. But yeah, no, I had to have an attitude of gratitude, and what I was doing was service. Like every when I got nervous, you have to focus on the reason I'm doing this is service. It's not just for me. This is an amazing thing, but this is also for Rebecca. This is also for my parents. This is for everybody who ever said no to me. I found my strength in succeeding rather than getting down on myself about what they were saying. Yeah, you have to prepare yourself for every time you get up on stage. It may not be the best performance of your life. It may not have been as good as rehearsal. They may say something mean. In fact, I was expecting Simon Cowell to have a really terrible comment every time. So I just had to block it out a little bit. And I'd be like, yeah, okay.
Let it bounce off of you.
Take it. Yeah, it's just part of life in general.
So was he like that off camera too?
We didn't get to spend very much time with the judges off camera. But from when I met him during Hollywood Week, he was actually super, super sweet, really nice guy. So, I mean, I don't know for certain. I love Ellen. I do know that. I think Kara is incredibly talented, and I never really I couldn't pick up on her. I tried so much to figure out what in the world, but I never really did. But Simon, I think they all wanted to see us succeed in the very downright bottom most part of my heart. I think that they wouldn't have picked us to go through unless they wanted to see us do well.
Yeah.
So
That makes sense.
took me years to come up with that answer, by the way.
You had to reflect and write about it, and
no, but I will say that I aspire to have an amazing career in the entertainment business, and I know a lot of people do, but whether it be through music or through my terrible, terrible comedy, it's not that good. I'm working on it. I wish I was Amy Poehler sometimes.
yeah,
The time.
no one is Amy Poehler. She's the only,
She's amazing. Totally girl crush. It's Woman Crush Wednesday, so.
Yeah.
Amy Poehler. Yeah, I would like to write a book. I'm working on it. I've been working on it for years. So
yeah, I read that, or I saw an interview that you did about wanting to write a book. I was wondering if you still wanted to do that.
I've been working on it. Like I'm sure I have enough to actually get the book done at this point.
Yeah.
But I'm such a perfectionist, hence the reason why it took so many years for me to get my album out.
Yeah, totally understand that. Same here.
One thing at a time. We just have to remember one thing at a time.
Right.
So yes, eventually it's going to happen. I want to self-publish a book. I did the album. Maybe I'll make another album. I'm writing a lot. So whether it becomes music or a funny book, or it would be cool if I could write some kind of series. I'm not going to get too ahead of myself because I don't know how to do that yet, but it would be cool to direct something, I'd like to.
You could do like a web series too. I mean, that's, a lot of people are doing that now, and that's becoming a big thing. So
yeah, I have no idea how to do
that. There's a lot. You have a lot of options. So
whatever, the world is. What do they say? The world is. What is it? Yeah, sorry, I don't have.
I think I know what you're talking about, but I have no clue how that sentence
Something about an oyster or something.
I don't know. The world
know.
is your oyster. Yes, the world is your oyster. It is. It is.
Yeah, I was like, is that? Yeah, that sounds right.
So is your book? Is it fiction? What is it?
It's based off of real life circumstances, but finding the comedy in the situations and making it funny. That's what I've gotten to. I mean, I've really just kind of, as much as I can, kept a record of the things that have happened. And here and there, it's a little fun to exaggerate just a little bit.
Yeah. Take creative license with it. Yeah.
Exactly. So you can get a little based on a true story. You know how you see that at the beginning of all the Lifetime stories?
Right. Yeah. Based on a true story or inspired by a true story.
Asterisk. In kinds of letters. There is some truth in here.
Yeah. That's really cool. I hope that you do that soon. That's really neat. I would like to read that. So
thank you. I'll get it done. Now that I said it to the world, I have to do it.
Now you have to do it. Yeah, exactly. You have to be careful what you say in public, because then you're going to be,
It's true. You guys
held to that standard.
All right. I'm working on it.
Well, you mentioned Hollywood Week, and I know during Hollywood Week on American Idol, you sang a song that Kara had co-written, Terrified. Mm-hmm. So that could have gone either way. So what made you decide to sing a song that she had written in front of her?
Well, I figured it would be something that I would either sink or swim, and either way, it would in some way lead to some sort of something. I just figured that. Well, here's what really happened. I'm a Jason Reeves fan. I love him. I think he's amazing. He's co-written a lot of songs with Colby Calais, and I love Colby. I worked with Michael Blue, who had co-produced Coco, which I listened to just about every single day. And when I met Jason and I wrote with him, I just was flabbergasted. He was such an amazing human being. He was seriously just like magic. He was unbelievable, an incredible song craftsman, just having all sorts of creative ideas. And I thought, wow, this is somebody that I would love. Like, he was very inspiring to me. Mm-hmm. And I wanted to sing one of his songs. And as I was looking through the list, I was either going to sing a Colby Calais song. I was going to do like Bubbly, or I was going to do something else. And I saw Terrified on the list. And the funny thing is I had actually seen the song because I was tracking Jason's career after we had written together. And I guess he had written that song several months after we had gotten together and written. And the word terrified was in the song that we wrote. And so I was interested to see what the song was. And it was he and Kara singing Terrified. And I was like, oh man, that's such a beautiful song. So I had actually seen it a while before it ever came out. It was on YouTube. It didn't have had like 20 views maybe. And I don't know, I wanted to support his career. And I knew that Kara was the judge that season. So I was like, you know, this will make some sort of impression, whether it's really horrible or really good. But I was willing to take that chance because I felt like it was my shot and it was an opportunity that I just had to take. And
it paid off. I mean, they responded to it, and Kara even said that you did her proud. So yeah,
it was the coolest feeling in the world to have her support after I did. Like, I respect her so much as a songwriter, and you know, I also felt like there was a lot of controversy as far as people being like, who is that? I'm like, she's an amazing songwriter, and this is Kara. Like, this is her song. This is her. This is what she's done. So, bam, you know, I wanted to support the songwriting community, and and it was more about them and kind of like seeing where it would go and what would happen with it. And yeah, it was a really, really scary, legitimately 100% terrifying experience. No pun intended. It really was absolutely terrifying. And I don't even know if I'm allowed to say this, but I'm going to. I had my guitar that I had been practicing with however many months to do this. And right before I went out on stage, they switched my guitar because my battery wasn't working in my guitar. So there's this completely foreign guitar that I have literally never played in my entire life that I'm playing to sing this song. So yeah, it could have gone horribly.
Yeah.
Horribly. And then of course I'm in Crystal Bauer's Sox line and she killed it.
Yeah.
A standing ovation. Like, I'm like, okay. You can do this. And yeah, so it was, I'm lucky. I'm really glad that I ended up doing that. And it was cool to have that kind of support.
Yeah.
It was cool to see the person who wrote that song shake her head, like nod her head, like, all right.
Approval.
Yeah. Yeah. It could have gone really, really bad. So I'm glad that it went the way that it did.
Yeah. Well, especially because, you know, your nerves are already rattled and then they hand you this new instrument that you haven't played on before. That could totally throw you off your game.
Yeah, it did, but I had to do it anyway. It was like, you're here, you can't just
back out. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Well, I know that I had read this, and I didn't remember this from your season on Idol, and maybe you weren't even aware of it at the time, but there was a bit of controversy with the fact that you knew Kara's co-writer, and then you sang her song, and then Kara was the judge, and all that mixed together. Were you aware of that during your time on the show?
I think it's hilarious, because first of all, I'm now really good friends with the person that wrote that article that started all the controversy. It's funny, because she gave me so much crap about it, and I ended up being like, you know, we had literally had one songwriting session that was set up by a producer that I was working with. And so we weren't like tight. I knew him and we had one session, but it wasn't like we were BFF and we were great friends. And I was like,
you didn't even really know Kara at all.
No, I didn't know Kara at all. And I hardly knew Jason, but I was really inspired by his character and his perseverance and his story and his craftsmanship, his amazing songwriting skills. And, so no, I didn't, it's not like I never told Jason I was doing it. I never reached out to anybody and said, hey, I'm gonna do that. You know, I wanted to do it on my own, and I wanted it to be a nice little surprise. Obviously, I don't know how much of a surprise it was because they get the clearance sheets before you air it, but but yeah, I was really, really happy and excited to see the response from that. But no, it was funny to read those because I'm like, yeah, we didn't, That's drama.
They had to dig pretty hard to find that bit of controversy. So
Yeah.
but if that was all that they had on you, that was pretty good, because there's usually something every season with somebody.
Yeah, whatever. It just goes to show that I've been working hard in this city for years and years, even before Idol. So it wasn't like that was my, that was a great moment that I got to enjoy and live. But I had already been working for years and years out here, and I was just taking sessions with whoever wanted to write with me, Nobody knew who I was. And yeah, I'd have random sessions with really great writers. And one of them happened to be Jason one time. And he probably, more so than a lot of writers, just changed my perspective on how amazing writing can be and how it can move people just by being creative. It's just a cool thing. It's a cool thing.
Yeah. So what was the whole Ryan Seacrest thing? Because it seemed like everyone wanted to pair the two of you together during your season. And
oh, Ryan. Yeah, he's adorable. He's really, really sweet, really, really nice guy. Incredibly hardworking. I have massive respect for that guy. Yeah, I don't know. They always, there's always something. That's fine.
All the contestants seem to want to make it a thing.
Huh?
I said all the contestants seemed to wanted to make it a thing, so I didn't.
I wish I could tell you everything that went on behind the scenes. I'm kidding. There really wasn't anything that would have been that juicy. And if there is, I'm putting it in my book. So
yeah. Well, we'll just wait for the book to come out then.
Yeah, there you go.
So, do you think that the being on Idol was a little bit of a double-edged sword? Like you get the publicity and you get this big stage, but like after it's over with, did you get a lot of like, well, she was on Idol, so let's not take her too seriously?
I mean, I have never like directly heard that from like a casting director, but I have actually heard we just don't work with American Idols after I was on the show, which is it's a bummer. Yeah, you hear that and you're like, what? I don't understand. Like that's because we worked really, really hard on that show.
Yeah.
So, I guess, I mean, it's, yeah, I mean, it depends on who you are, but then again, I think it just takes a lot of hard work. If anything, we have to work a lot harder, because we've had that moment. And yeah, some people aren't really into American Idols for some reason, which that's fine, that's their thing. And it's just like, it's not, I don't know, that's life, I guess. What do you do? I am happy and I'm grateful and I'm super blessed to have had that opportunity, and I wouldn't have changed it for the world. Would I like to have gotten a few jobs after? Yeah, sure. But it is what it is. And I see Katie Stevens doing really, really well. She just booked Faking It, which is awesome, amazing. And she's from the season. It's amazing. Everything happens when it's supposed to. So regardless of whatever reason that the doors are closed, they're closed for a reason, and it's to lead you to something better, I think.
Yeah.
Anyway, it makes me feel good about the whole thing.
Yeah. So do you think it was time for them to cancel the show? I mean, do you think that it kind of run its course?
I mean, can I say no comment on that?
Yeah.
I think that I next. No, it was a great show and it was a great platform for a lot of people. And I think that, I'm always going to be grateful for the fact that I was on it. It makes it feel a little bit more special to me that I was one of, the top 10 from, the 15 season that it was 15 seasons that it was on air. That's really, really cool and a massive accomplishment. So, in a way I'm kind of like, maybe it is time. Maybe it's time, and that's fine. It was an era. It was its own thing. I made some of my best friends through it. And yeah, I mean, I'm really grateful for it. I think that, whatever, happens with the show is hopefully, you know, everybody who's working on it and everybody who's there at the Idol family will be successful and continue to grow as human beings and whatever they venture to do next. And yeah, I'm just grateful to have been a part of that family and to be a part of that family and feel like, you know, there's people that support us. So
Yeah. Well, that's a good answer. So
I'm like, how do I,
well, you did some reporting for, what was it, Idol season 11 for the Hollywood Reporter. You did some interviews. So do you have any interesting interviews that kind of stuck with you?
You know, my favorite interview was with Jennifer Lopez.
Mm-hmm.
She's the most genuine, kind human being, and just absolutely stunning. I mean, she had like hardly any makeup on, and this woman was just, I got nervous. I talked way too much. I didn't mean to do that, but I was just looking at her. I'm like, oh my gosh, you're so beautiful. I don't even know what to say. Like, and I kept trying to, you know, have all these intricate questions and come up with something really cool, because it was J-Lo, for goodness sakes.
Right.
But yeah, that interview really stuck with me the most. I look back on it and I wish I hadn't talked so much. Steven Tyler was a really cool interview. Neo was fun. I chased him down and got an interview from him. Because he was trying to not hit his publicist didn't want him doing any more press, and I was like, yes, he does. He wants to do one more interview.
There you go. That's what you got to do.
What you got to do, get your interview. You got to get your content. But yeah, no, the Hollywood Reporter job was amazing. I had so much fun doing that, and one of the reasons why I really wanted to take that job on also was because I had still some, like, getting eliminated is one of the hardest, most gargantuous rejection moments of your entire life, in front of lots and lots of people. And I feel for every contestant that goes through that, you know, in the future. I'm like, oh, like, it's heart-wrenching. It's tough. And I wanted to be there for them after that happened, and just be able to give them a quiet word of like some sort of positive, something that I knew they weren't going to get asked or told between the time that they were eliminated and they got to me. And I would get to talk to them and be like, you're great. Give them a big hug, a solid hug from somebody who had been through it. And like really just let them know it's all going to be okay. And it's just a very strange moment. It's tough to go through, but yeah, you just got to stay positive and have a good attitude. I'm not sure whether my attitude was good or not. I might have been a little mean. I don't remember. Sorry, anybody that enjoyed that.
Well, you know, I think when I've watched the seasons of American Idol, I kind of think that sometimes it's better when you don't win the whole show. You know, get pigeonholed into that Idol label, and I assume that you have more creative freedom that way. So
yeah, you do. You do have more creative freedom. I again, I wouldn't have, you know, yes, it would have been fantastic to walk away with an incredible record deal. But there was also that element of my creativity that I felt may not have been heard. And I'm really glad that I was able to make a record, even though it was a few years after the fact. It was a record that I really, really, really love, and I created it.
Yeah, you got to take your time with it. So
yeah, it's all good. Like you said, it's something that was supposed to happen. I did it the way I wanted to do it, and creative control is surprisingly important. So yeah, I'm glad that I actually had the opportunity to do that, and the platform that I got through Idol. So.
Well, speaking of creativity, are you still taking acting lessons with Eliza Roberts?
Eliza, I do call before almost every single audition. Yeah. she's like my acting mom, basically. Yeah. Keaton and I are like brother and sister. So. Right.
Yeah, I was going to say, for those that don't know, Eliza is Eric Roberts' wife and Keaton Simon's mother. So that's the
I love her. She is absolutely amazing, as is Keaton.
Yeah.
He's incredibly talented. We did some music together before Watching and Waiting. Actually, he did like the demo version of Watching and Waiting for me before we even put it on the record, and he really gave it a lot of movement. And he's an incredible producer and singer and songwriter, and that boy's got something.
He's very, very talented, and I'm constantly surprised when people don't know about him. I told him that last year when I interviewed him. I said, I'm always surprised when people have not heard of you because you're just so talented.
Well, they will. I have no doubt in my mind, you know, he's incredibly talented, and he's going to do, I mean, he's already done some really amazing things. I actually just reached out to him yesterday. I'm like, we need to get together. This is ridiculous. Music. So,
well, I'm going to make a suggestion. I think the two of you need to do a stage it show together at some point.
We're supposed to do one, you know. I think we should do a stage it show.
Yeah, because your voices just melt together perfectly. I love it.
I think a couple of years ago, actually, I came and sat in on a stage it show that he did, and I sang 1 or 2 songs with him, but he's so good. He's so incredibly good. Unstoppable is one of my favorite songs ever. He's so good.
And the two of you collaborated on if I hadn't forgotten, the two of you made a duet version out of that song. So that was really good. And I told him, actually, I don't know if you saw this part of the interview where I told him that I thought, and I still really sincerely believe this, I think that adding your voice brought it to a whole other level. So I'm really glad that they brought you on for that song.
Oh, well, thank you.
Actually, I had already downloaded his album, and when I heard that version, I had to go download that song again. So.
Oh, yay! Thank you.
Yeah.
Yay.
So hopefully, are you guys going to try to do that again at some point?
Keen and I are always talking about doing something together again. It's, you know, we have such crazy schedules. I'm back and forth from the East Coast here. He's on tour all the time. I guess he just did a tour with Tony Luca. So we both have a lot going on all the time. And we are absolutely 100% we are always planning on getting back together and making something happen. But in the meantime, I do work with his mother a lot because I have been going out on auditions, and I've been doing acting, and I love it. I love it. It's just another avenue of being able to emote and get some incredible being across in some way, shape, or form. So it's cool. I like Eliza a lot. She's a good mom. She's a good mom to me too.
Yeah. Well, I saw on your IMDb page that you had participated in a short film recently. Picture Yourself. So I'm guessing, was that your first?
My first short film. Yeah. You know, slowly but surely. I did Hurricane, that really funny kind of spoof of. That was fun.
You wore your dress that you got eliminated on Idol. So
I had to bring that to it. I was like, can I wear the dress that I got kicked off the show in? Is that cool? They were like, yeah, wear it. And I'm like, great. I just sold that thing. It's no longer in my closet.
Yeah. Was that the first time you had worn it since your elimination?
Sorry, what did you say?
Was that the first time you had worn it since your elimination? Was in that video?
Yeah, that's the only time I wore it after my elimination. Never wore it before, after that. I really wanted that dress because I had never actually gotten a real prom dress. I had in high school, this is so weird. In high school, I borrowed a prom dress. I got one at Goodwill that I got altered. And then I didn't go to my senior prom because I had already graduated and I didn't want to.
Yeah.
And I always really wanted like a nice prom dress that I had gotten on my own because I never had that. And that's what I told the stylist that week. I was like, you know what I really want? It's just like a nice fancy glittery dress because I never had one. Like officially, that was mine. I want like to recreate, And I was like, it's kind of cool being on this show because you get to, like, I never got to do that in high school, but I get to do this now. And, it turns out it was a little too much. It was a little too much, but it made me feel so good for that moment. And it was a beautiful dress. It was a beautiful dress. So.
Yeah, you can never wear it. You can never wear it again after that because it's like, once you wear something and something bad happens like that, it's tainted. You can't really wear it again.
Well, it wasn't a bad thing. It didn't happen that night. It was a beautiful dress and it served its purpose to make me happy, to make me feel like I had my own prom dress once. So that was all I wanted from
And, if you're going to compare it to a prom dress, you really only wear those once anyway. So
Exactly. So, hey.
Yeah. So, I want to talk about some of your nonprofit charity things that you're involved with.
Sure.
First of all, you're involved, or you're one of your favorite organizations is the Argus Service Dogs Foundation, which I love that you promote that, because Lucky Dog, it's, for those that don't know, it's Brandon McMillian's charity. So tell us about that charity and what they do.
Oh, Argus Service Dogs, he gets rescue dogs from the shelters, just like he does on the show. And he trains them to become service dogs. So I know there was one woman with Alzheimer's who couldn't find her way back home. And he trained this dog to walk this woman around the block and to take her back home.
Right.
And I think there's a really big stigma on rescue dogs versus buying dogs, and I hate seeing it. I love that people have animals and that they want to protect themselves, thinking that they're buying an animal, and for some reason an animal that's bred is better. But I feel like, in my personal opinion, that rescue dogs, first of all, there's so many, there's 2 million or more dogs in the shelter across the United States right now that are getting put down every single day. Yeah. And that's just so many. Why are we breeding dogs, And if they can be trained, I mean, obviously Brandon McMillan is an incredible trainer. But if they can be trained, I feel like almost any dog can be trained, and their demeanor, I think every dog is trainable. I really do. And rescue dogs are grateful. I really feel like, having been in a shelter, knowing what it's like to be on death row, literally, get picked up by a family, that gratitude, they know what's going on. You can smell
they're smart enough to know. They're smarter than a lot of people give them credit for, but they are aware of what goes on.
Yeah, they are. And I don't know, it's saving lives. I guess I am all about rescues. Every dog I have ever had in my entire life has been a rescue. And for me, it was something that I started doing after the show that just fulfilled me. It gave me joy. And to see the show Lucky Dog, and to see that this guy is making a difference in not only animals' lives, but people's lives. And he's promoting, kindness to animals and awareness on rescue dogs, and showing on television that it's really not, there's really, you can do this, anybody can do this, and you're saving life, So I really fell in love with what he was doing. And I had to help, I did a pledge campaign, and I had the opportunity to donate some of the proceeds to something that I really believe in. And so that was really cool. And I had suggestions from other people on like certain things to do and with the money. And I was like, no, it's an obvious answer. I want to do, I want to help. And I could have given it to ASPCA, which I support. I love ASPCA. But I wanted to help a more local, smaller organization that could use the money. Yeah. And I know the money will be going to something really good.
Yeah. It's not as well known of an organization, so
it's surprising how I wish there was more awareness for it. And I know with everything going on with Lucky Dog, it's starting to trend more, and I just hope that it continues to do that, because he's an asset to rescuing, and I'm really glad that there's that show on air right now.
Yeah, that's one thing I've watched a lot of the dog training shows, because this is something I'm passionate about too, and I love dogs. And but this one is the first one. This is the first show I think that I've ever seen where they actually take a dog out of the shelter and train them and give them a home. This is the first one I've ever seen where somebody is actively doing something.
Yep.
So,
and this is something that he was doing for a really long time before. I mean, his whole family, I guess, has worked in the circus for years, and was dog training, and so he grew up with this. And what's great about it is it's not only just a show where it's showing them rescuing, but also he's he's training us at home how to train our animals via the show, which is, I laugh because I'm always like, it's educational and informational because it's
Right.
such a thing. But it is, it is educational and informational. And I think it's important. People need to know this. And, and congratulations to him on his Emmy win. That was really cool.
Yeah, that was very much deserved. I was hoping that he would get that. Yeah. I had to crack up at that one episode, though, with the Yorkie mix who they turned him in because they thought he was untrainable. And then he starts training it. And it's like, well, I don't want to do that. Because it's exactly how my dog is, he'll do the tricks and stuff that I teach him if he has food. He's smart enough to know, he's smart enough to know he has to get paid for his work. So
exactly, it's funny, right? I'm like, Moo is the same way. She's the same way sometimes. It's Artie is not. Artie's a super trainable dog. It's dogs. They've definitely got personalities, but they're all trainable. They're all trainable. Yes. They do.
Yeah, they definitely all have their own personalities, and some of them have very big personalities. So
they're smart too. They're smart. They know.
Oh, super smart. So much smarter than most people realize. It's ridiculous.
What kind of dog do you have? You have a little Yorkie too?
I have a terrier mix. He's like a part terrier, part cocker spaniel. Oh. So I'm not really sure what he's a mix of. What kind of terrier he's a mix of? He kind of looks like he's got a little bit of schnauzer in him too. Oh. So. But yeah, he's like 13 years old right now, but he still acts like a pup. So I have to send you a picture of him after the show.
Yeah. Yes, please do.
I'm a proud dog mama.
Yay! High five through the.
Yeah.
I love it.
So are you still involved with Ronald McDonald House too?
That was something that I did going to New York. I think it's an amazing organization, and whenever I can, I love to go over there. But it's usually when I'm in New York. I know they have a bunch of different Ronald McDonald houses. But yeah, I wrote about going there a couple years ago with Keaton, and one of the most life-changing, put in perspective nights I've ever had. I mean, there are kids there who are not going to make it, for a couple more weeks. And the fact that they can just sit there and enjoy being with you for whatever moments in time they have. And it's just such pure joy. And it's amazing. Yeah, the Ronald McDonald House is an incredible organization. Yeah. And I was glad to be able to have any sort of part in going and being with the kids for a bit. Keaton and I had a really good time. That was fun. Yeah. It's on YouTube. I wrote about it. I was so emotionally moved by that experience that I was like, I have to write this down, because in a couple years, I was like, I won't be able to say it right whenever, the opportunity comes up. I wrote it down. So there's some stuff on my Tumblr. I actually do have a Tumblr. I haven't touched it in a minute, but it was amazing. Ronald McDonald's House is fantastic. Music Gives to St. Jude Kids. That's amazing too. What else is the Argus is fantastic. Angels and Fur Dog Rescue is another one. I'm all about that dog rescuing, gotta say. Yeah. Kids and animals, they're so innocent.
Yeah, and they don't have a voice. They have to have someone to have a voice for them. So that's the whole thing right there.
It's a really
okay, well, in a couple of days, you're going to be performing on actually June 5th and 6th with some other former idols. We mentioned this earlier. Elliot Yamin, Lee DeWise, and Blake Lewis. So do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Oh, yeah, those are my brothers. I'm just excited to go and do a show with them. And it's for a good cause. It's also for autism and the arts. And it's cool. I'm excited. I love those guys. Blake is one of my best friends, and let's see, Elliot I have connected with very much because we both have very, very Israeli fathers.
Yeah.
We both wear socks with flip-flops. It's a cultural thing, I guess, but
really great fashion statement,
Really great fashion statement. It's when they're at the beach with Speedos where you're like, I don't know him. He's not my dad. Oh, God. You're like, are you just doing that to embarrass me, or is that part of what you? Okay. Yeah, and Lee's all married now and everything. I haven't seen Lee in a minute, so it'll be cool to reconnect with him. And yeah, we're all just off doing our own things, and it's really nice to. I love doing gigs with my former idols, our idol alum.
Yeah, well, you're all part of like a family now, so.
A weird, very, very weird family, but yes.
Very weird, very dysfunctional, probably, family.
There's some dysfunction in there, but we all love each other.
Yeah.
Ultimately, in the long run, it's one of those things that you just can't. We've all been through an experience that's life-changing, and you know, we've all had our own experiences with it, and we all learn from each other, I think, and are inspired by each other and grow. Yeah. You know, from being with one another. So
well, you sort of have like a support system now too, kind of built in, I'm assuming. Mm-hmm. So everyone's been through that experience and they know what it's about, and they know what they experienced after the show. Everyone sort of did. So,
well, truthfully, I don't think we know what I mean, we're all like, I don't know what happened. That was the craziest ride of my life, but we're all there for each other in our moments of what do we do now?
Yeah. Sort of thing. Well, that's really good. Yeah. So can people still get tickets to this event?
Yes. Okay. It's Paula Casino and the Hard Rock Casino. One is in almost San Diego. I thought it was in San Diego. The other one's in Palm Springs. So yes, you can still get tickets. Sorry, I'm yawning.
Okay.
Eventbrite. Coffee,
yeah.
You can get tickets on Eventbrite, I believe, and or their day of show, I'm pretty sure. Okay. But yeah, it's gonna be fun. I think we're gonna carpool down there, so we'll try and take some pictures. And
oh yeah, that'll be cool. Put some pictures on Instagram or something. Road trip with the idols.
Mm-hmm. We'll see how that goes. Kidding.
Well,
we like family. It's great. No, we don't. We don't.
Well, Didi, that was all of my questions. You know, do you have anything that you would like to add?
No, I don't think so.
I think I probably covered just about everything, didn't I?
Yeah, I think we went over everything, and that was great. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you so much for coming on. I appreciate it.
I do have something I want to say. Sorry.
Okay. It's okay.
Well, I wanted to say thank you to you first.
Yes, absolutely.
And I also want to say thank you to everybody who's watching this, and to my fans and everybody who's been supporting my music journey for the past few years. And thank you, because y'all are awesome and the reason that I get to do this. And so that's it. I just want to say thank you, and I love you.
Well, you were such a sweetheart. Everyone check out her album, Reverie. You can get it on iTunes and Amazon. I think you can listen to it streaming on Spotify too. So
yes, you can listen to it streaming on Spotify. You can go to the official website, officialdidibenami.com, and it has all the ways that you can get the album, and should have updates as far as to what's going on, and ways you can support the music and all that fun stuff. So
yeah. Very awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming on. I hope that you'll come back at some point and sing for us.
I will. Yes.
Yeah. So I'll touch base with you about the picture exchanges. So
yes. Sounds
okay.
Good. Sounds
all right. Well, good night.
Thank you. Good night. Bye, Paula.
Good night. Bye.